Hello, everybody. It's Brian David Johnson. I am the guest editor of the IEEE magazine, the special issue on the world of computing. And in this issue, we wanted to go around and get different perspectives, people who were making different things, taking different approaches to making. We went and looked at areas of biology and design, science and business, technology, entertainment, education, and even culture. So we cast a wide net when we started getting this snapshot of making in the year 2014. And we're really lucky today on the podcast to have Tyesha Snow. Tyesha is a user experience designer who has got a little different take on designing and who she's designing for, and I'll let her tell us about her article and what she's been doing. But Tyesha, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
So, Tyesha, as an experienced designer and as a designer, I know you really believe in the potential of wearable technologies and where things could go. But before we dive into what you're making and what you're working on, tell the audience a little bit, what's your background and what brought you to the world of making?
Sure. Well, let's see, my background, my degree is in political ecology, and my interest in that subject lied around, wanting to understand how humans are connecting and influenced by their environment and the larger world. So I think, from an early age, I was always interested in finding those hidden connections and hidden reasons that things happen and why people do things and how they respond. So from there, I just happened to be born at just the right time to come of age when it was time to start diving into technology issues and solutions around these issues, and so it was a natural progression for me. I'll also add that I always had a deep interest in research, and so experience design, user experience, information architecture always starts from that place, and so it was a nice fit for me.
And so how did you come into working on your project? What brought you into working on Wolf?
Sure, yeah. A couple of years ago, I worked with the Nike Plus Accelerator, which was an accelerator working with companies focused on the new wave of fitness tracking and wearables, and just really got hooked on the idea of moving computing and moving, data, receiving and data when you're out and about, and how that might change over the next few years. So I just got a little bit of bug for it, and then I met Sean, the CEO, and we started talking, and it just seemed like a really neat space to be in at this particular time, and so I just went on with it.
So tell us about what you're making. Tell us about the project that you're working on.
Sure. We're making what we like to call the smartest dog collar in the world, and it's a wearable device for dogs and their owners so that they can be closer, improve their relationship, and improve safety, health, and any number of other things that we hope to tackle in the future. But essentially, it's a collar for dogs that has a lot of awesome technology put on into it. We often make the analogy of like putting an iPhone on your dog, because it has everything from Bluetooth technology to cellular connection to accelerometer data, all that good stuff. And we're using the device to essentially power an experience of understanding what's going on with your dog, so that you can care for him or her more closely, and also just to improve some of the things you're already doing with your dog, like consistent training over the life of the dog, having fun together. So we're looking to augment that relationship and hopefully not get in the middle of it or in the way of it.
So now, being an experienced designer, Tyesha, I know that you do a lot of user testing and you do a lot of research. What has the research been with now this customer of the four-legged kind?
That's funny. Well, it makes for a really good time. First off, you're usually out laying in the grass as you talk and rolling around and getting licked on the face. So it's a good time. Well, it's interesting. I mean, because, half of the equation for this product can't really speak to us, and so we got to make a lot of inferences and think about how, what a dog might need in the way of a device that could help them communicate better. And that's actually what we've uncovered, is that the biggest value of something like this is to be able to express what the dog can't directly express to us humans. And so hopefully going down the road, the research is going to be even more enlightening, because the data will help enlighten what the dog is feeling. But it's kind of a fun place. You definitely, I have a child myself, so I don't want to. I can say this, but there is some analogy between thinking about designing for animals that are a little more helpless or can't communicate as well, and the same goes for children or people in other compromising positions. So I hope that the type of learnings that I'm doing here, working with dogs, will also extend into how I might be able to design for other people who can't communicate as easily.
And what has been the most unexpected things that you've learned, whether it be in the design of the hardware, in the design of the software, or even the design of the holistic experience? I mean, as you've been going through this process, I mean, certainly wearables is a very hot and topical subject. It's in the IEEE computer magazine all the time, but wearables for dogs, I think we might be the first one, Tyesha. You might be the first one to have wearables for dogs. What has been the most unexpected thing that you've learned?
Just how quickly people go to the emotional needs that they have. I guess that's not completely unexpected. But, there's a lot of logistics around taking care of an animal, particularly around families, coordinating care, and the logistics of keeping them safe if they run away, and all of those things are important to people. But really, when people started thinking and talking, it always came down to, addressing emotional needs that they have. So that's a nice reminder when you're making anything that really that you got to find sort of that emotional driver to any want or desire, and then try and help support that. So we came into the project really having some pretty functional tools that are very useful, but then realized that people were willing to go even further if we were going to sort of be able to work with some of their emotional needs. For example, we in a research group, we did some design jamming, as they call it, where people draw and get some of their ideas down on paper together. And one of the things that came out of that group was this interest in having a third device, not just the phone or the collar, but some other piece that was smaller that they could wear on their body that would give them response automatically with a different sort of interface with their body that they could have with them all the time. And I thought that was pretty interesting. We're trying to get everything down to working on our mobile device, our phone, and, asking people to do more, like wear another piece of technology or do this or that. Might seem laborious, but they were really, really interested in having that third piece to help them connect even further. So that was a really cool discovery.
Oh, that is neat. So also, you're not only making a device and a piece of software and a service and experience, you're also making a company, and you're making a company in a very new space. What has that experience been like?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, this is as far down the path of making a company I've come. I've tried a couple other products in the past and, haven't made it this far yet. I'm generally used to working on making other people's ideas come true. And so I don't know that I have it figured out yet. I'm staying really focused on the product itself and maybe passing a little bit of that company building to the CEO. And I'm not sure I have a good answer. Maybe ask me in a year.
and that's really my final question, is that where do you see all this going? I mean, as you say, you've been designing and crafting experiences for people and technology, both for your product and for other people's products, for quite a long time. And you've got an interesting perspective, on that. Where do you see all this going? Whether it be wearables for dogs or wearables in general, or even just what experiences might look like, where do you hope that this will go in the future?
One of the things I think that this next phase of computing is confronting head-on is ethics. And I know that we're constantly having debate and conversation as technologists from the beginning. But there's something about when you start to put devices onto people's bodies and we start to pay attention to other things like heart rate and behavior throughout the day, and it just becomes a little more personal. I think these questions of ethics are rising to the top, quite quickly, which is a really great thing. It's helping us have a better lens on making. It's getting people to think a little bit more closely about what the effects of these products are going to have on people, and I think that's great. As technology becomes cheaper and easier to work with, it's easy to just throw all kinds of things out there. But hopefully we're going to start to, consider the actions of these products, either, how much they're bringing, pleasure or pain, adding friction or eliminating it. So for me, I think that's a really nice side effect of the wearable movement right now, is that it's helping us put a little more focus back on the humanity of it all.
Yeah, and it's certainly you're right. As a debate, it's a very important debate as these devices get woven into the fabric of our lives, both figuratively and literally.
Exactly.
Where can people go to get more information, not only on your product and your business that you're working, but also on your work as well?
Sure. You can find Woof at getwoof.com, and you can find me at Tyesha Snow pretty much anywhere. That's my URL and my Twitter handle, and that's Tyesha.
Awesome. Well, Tyesha Snow, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Again, thank you so much for your great piece, and good luck with Woof.
Thanks so much, Brian.